The next big metal in mining is gonna be copper. Let me explain. Well, hello everyone, Dan Hurd with Dan Hurd Prospecting here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. I hope to earn your subscription today. I am back here at my biggest copper mine, my biggest copper deposit, which is an old copper mine. And I am here doing some more investigation, some more prospecting to check things out. I checked out last year down below. I've taken the quad way up the hill, hopefully to find the old mine shafts and to find the really rich copper deposit. So wish me luck, and I hope you enjoy. So last year I was way down below there at the old mill site where they were crushing copper ore 40, 50, 60 years ago, and they left a whole lot of crush laying around the old mill site. And we processed a bunch of it to see what we could find inside. Yes, we found lots of copper pyrite. We found a ton of magnetite in the pyroxene ore, and a little tiny bit of gold. This mine, the Goncola mine here, and the Copper King up above, were known to be a copper deposit that had a little bit of gold with it. The mine down below, and I've investigated that too, was a gold mine. But I swear the next big metal in mining will be copper. And I'm gonna explain a little bit later why I think that. Out this way should be another mill site, probably not a mill site, but a, ore storage site. And I'm really hoping instead of the pyroxene ore I saw crushed down below, we'll find some more of the quartz ore up here, which is supposed to be the high grade stuff. High grade in copper and gold. Down that road we go. On the little old quad to fill a bucket of ore. Well, here we are at the upper site here. I could definitely see, concrete structures around, old bases of buildings, lots of, old mine workings. Great big ore pile right in front of me. The river's running right through the old mine site. And I haven't ever found any of the adits going in, which I hear there's some big ones that go a long ways. They're still open. The locals say they're up here somewhere. So hopefully today I'll be able to find those. Still lots of investigation to do at this mine site. One thing I really like looking at this old mine dump here, this mine pile, ore pile, whatever, I see white all through it. And this white is quartz. Down below, all I was finding was tiny remnants of quartz and mostly the pyroxene ore. Yet the min files, the mining files of this site say that the good stuff was in the quartz. Even though the pyroxene still has great contents, the high grade stuff was against the quartz. And I'm seeing lots of it here. I will definitely be taking a bucket of this. Yes, now we're talking high grade quartz and copper ore with some iron below, iron rusting out, copper oxidizing to malachite there. That's the malachite staining. And then I can see some pyrites up in the copper. There is a great chunk of copper ore. And they do say that the copper ore does hold some free milled gold as well. Time to start bucketing up the best samples. Very rich samples here. You can see the piece of chalcopyrite. That's that gold looking piece in the middle. But you can also see a lot of rusted out iron pyrites or weathered out chalcopyrites, that's copper pyrites, all through this rock. Definitely included magnetite as well in the quartz. I can fill my first bucket easily from this mine dump. I feel like I have to say something every time I turn the camera on, but I know you guys just want to look at the ores. Don't necessarily need to hear me say anything, but I like to talk. Some people don't like that about me. There's a big chunk of quartz with a lot of malachite staining on it. Just green. I see pyrites throughout, big chunks of it, lots of staining. Should go grab my hammer and break some of these open so you can see the fresh breaks, the fresh chalcopyrites inside. I definitely can see why they were saying the quartz was much higher grade. Everywhere I look here, I see chalcopyrite in big quantities. And if you heard me say earlier that I was working the pyroxene magnetite ore, that's the pyroxene magnetite ore right there. And what I'm looking for today is the quartz chalcopyrite ore. And that's that stuff right there. Quartz pyrite, pyroxene magnetite. I won't get into the technicals of what the two are, but that has higher concentrations of what we're looking for. Some great pyrite cubes in this piece. Now that I have 3/4 of a bucket from that mine dump right there, that tailings dump, whatever pile that might be, let's go have a look at the old workings, the old structures, whatever they might be. The little creek running through here is just loaded in quartz. There's quartz everywhere in this little creek. And structures. Have to be very careful where I step around here. There are a lot of boards with rusty nails sticking out of them. But here is, well, part of the old mine. I couldn't even, give a guess at what some of these buildings were. Some sort of ore processing, I don't know, maybe the bunkhouse. It could be, the latrine. Okay, I doubt that. But it's the old mine site. I should go and find the date of this mine here. I can look it up on the old min files, the mining files, and it'll tell us what time frame this mine was active in. I tell ya, copper, the next big thing in mining. Oh look, an old core sample. That's down through the pyroxene ore. Checking out where this road goes. Looks like an ore pile up here. Whew, copper, yeah, copper. No, lots of quartz here. Got to get an idea of what they were doing, why they were dumping where they were, where they might have been sort of putting the higher grade stuff, what they might have left behind. Well, this seems to be a great big pyroxene magnetite sort of crush pile. I'm thinking this may have been like low grade stuff, though there is still a fair bit of quartz in it. And they were just dumping it over the edge. So that's why I kind of think it was just low grade. Still, from up here, no indications of any adits or where this material is coming from. Keep looking. Very smoky in the area today. Apparently there's some big fires south of the border that's just blowing in smoke on us. Okay, for now I'm going to leave this site, head up the hill, and see what the next site looks like. See what I find up the hill. See if I can find where this ore is coming from. Love to find it in situ. So by now, I'm sure there are people yelling at me, Dan, tell us why you think copper is so important. Such a mundane metal. Everyone has it in their pocket. For those of you who still use pennies. Well, that is simple. I go to a lot of mining conferences, workshops, listening to talks, all sorts of things in the mining industry. And something that every single one of them has in common, whether it be a miner or an academic or environmentalist, it doesn't matter. They're all saying the same thing, that in order for us to move away from hydrocarbon-based energy system into electric, in order to electrify everything, we need to bring 4 to 10 times as much metal out of the ground as we currently are. And sure, everyone starts thinking about lithium for lithium batteries or gold for cell phones, but it doesn't matter what electrical item you are creating, you need copper. Copper is going to be driving the electrification of everything. And we need 4 to 10 times as much copper coming out of the ground as we currently have. And we have a lot of copper coming out of the ground, but we still need a whole lot more. So a lot of deposits, small deposits like this, will be looked at very, very seriously in the near future because we need a lot of copper to run our society. Moving forward, a whole lot more. Now I've made it to the top of this frickin' mountain. In fact, I am off my claim right now. I've gone too far and I have not found any adits, any old mine shafts. So I must have passed them along the way because I know they're on my claim, not off of it. Of course, I didn't really look at the maps all that carefully before I came out. Typical for me. But I'm gonna go back and start looking at the side roads and seeing which one leads me into the big mine. Though something I noticed even here, miles and miles and miles away from where I was before, that's all pyroxene. That's all the magnetite pyroxene low-grade ore just on the ground everywhere. And every time we come through a cut, we see it's cutting through the same material. This entire mountain is made of low-grade copper ore. Copper ore? Ore. Copper ore. And, you know, what I'm looking for is the high-grade stuff. But if they ever decide to mine this mountain, I'm sure they would just take it all. Everywhere you look up here, you find rocks with malachite and azurite staining on it. Those are two oxides of copper. So you know that rock of pyroxene had enough copper in it that it, you know, oxidized on the surface and made those funky colors. So this is looking a bit more promising. This road looks more like an actual mine road that they would have been taking sort of equipment up and down. And then there's this great big excavation in the side of the mountain here, which could be a collapsed adit. I definitely see a seam running right through there. Definitely another, you know, pyroxene or something coming down. They obviously dug in there to investigate. It might be a portal that has since collapsed, or, you know, they collapsed it for safety's sake. If it was a big adit, I don't see much evidence out here of tailings. You know, usually out the hole of an adit, you see a big mine dump. And I don't really see that. So it may have just been, you know, a quick look at that rock. But the road continues. I had to abandon the quad because I don't have a chainsaw with me today and there was a log across it. I should say there was a log across the road, not a log across the quad. Yeah, you know. Oh, and another one. Even if I got over that first one, I wouldn't have made it far. I didn't bring the chainsaw with me today. Oh, this is interesting. This log has been here for a little bit, for sure. And there is definitely a trail made underneath it. Could be game that's been doing that. But it could also be people, you know, coming out to check out an adit. There was a local here who, you know, 3 years ago offered to take me into the adits and show me around. And I really wanted to take him up on it. Unfortunately, that was right around the time that we found my heart was bad and had to go in for heart surgery and, you know, all hell broke loose with COVID and all that kind of stuff. So I never actually did get to take him up on that, and I lost his contact. So, hey, if you're watching, if you're the guy from Olalla that wanted to take me into the adits, get in touch with me again. I'd love some local knowledge. All of a sudden, this doesn't look right again. These roads are very, very old, so I can't really tell what kind of traffic they had on them at the time. But I seem to be heading down the valley again, right back to where I was collecting quartz not long ago. In fact, I think I'm about to poke out on it. One problem with hiking so far downhill, I have to hike uphill to get back out. This is not looking right. Well, that was definitely just leading right back to that mill site that I was at earlier. This could be the road that they took to bring the ore down and dump into that dump that I was playing around on. But still no adit. Ever since my heart surgery, that's been the hardest thing for me, hiking uphill. I just have no lung capacity anymore. It's probably not my lung capacity. It's probably the capacity of my heart to pump enough oxygen to my body. Definitely surface quartz here. This is right beside what I'm guessing was some sort of prospect. That's probably an adit. I see evidence of a road sort of going through there. It probably went into a portal. The mine here was all sorts of levels inside the mountain, all sorts, and they poked out in many different levels. So there should be multiple entrances all around. So far I've found zero. Well, I'm back to where I started. None of the side roads up there showed anything more other than that one maybe collapsed in at it. So I've come back down here to see if Possibly looking around, I can get some indication of where this ore was coming from. And if not, I go back to the maps. I know there was good maps on this area, and I obviously should have studied them more before I came here. But it's all an adventure, and I'm loving it. Having a great time. Got a great bucket full of ore, and since I'm back here, I'm gonna get a second. And we're gonna crush all that down, see what it has in it for copper, and maybe even some gold. But let's look around here more. All sorts of old ironmongery around here. Iron pipes, iron things. There's a great big something right there. Big something. Ouch. Be so careful where I step around here. No clue what it is. Definitely some sort of processing unit though. This is what I'm fighting around here. Everywhere you look, you see these nails sticking straight up. I'd love to go investigate a bit more to see exactly what it was, but I don't want to walk in there. I sure don't want a nail through my foot. Just have sneakers on today, don't have my steel toe boots. Looks like quite recently someone took a big sample from right there. Yeah, it's fresh diggings. Oh, cores. Must have been an old core shack or something. We got cores everywhere here. Ah, as I throw it on the ground. Pyroxene magnetite core. I keep thinking that I'm just missing a shaft going into the mountains right here somewhere, but nothing indicating. Yes, I'm working my way to this machine, even though I said I wasn't going to. Fire bricks all over the place. I bet you this was a big kiln. They might have been smelting something here, because I see fire bricks, evidence of old fire bricks everywhere around here. That was a big old furnace. Yeah, fire bricks inside it too. I wonder if this is something people would be interested in, having samples of, you know, pyroxene and magnetite core drill samples. I know if it was gold they were looking for, people would be all over it, but copper, I don't know. I think the road I was walking down an hour ago comes in right there, right up there. I see evidence of maybe a cut. Well, considering I have a water supply, a little creek here, and a few million tons of, you know, tailings or crush, whatever right there, I think in the spring I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna set up a machine right here and shovel through a yard or two of this stuff. The stuff that actually has quartz all through it. Unlike down below where I did the same thing, it was all pyroxene. Up here it's got quartz all through it, and see what kind of results I get. I know I'll find more pyrite. I can see it just laying on the ground. Maybe I'll find some more gold? Maybe. I don't have my proper rock hammer with me. I want to try to get a nice break. Fresh break. No pyrites though. Well, there's a nice fresh break on some of the pyrites. Another nice fresh break on those pyrites. The odds are these are mostly chalcopyrite because this was a copper mine, but because there is some rusting, you know, some of it's iron pyrite, or that there's some iron in it of some sort. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to include the results from crushing this and processing that in this video or in a future video. However, I will definitely process it. Somehow it will get out there on YouTube or Facebook or something of what I found, and definitely look back for more from this copper mine in the future. And remember, copper is the next big metal in mining. You can quote me on that. Very, very nice little copper mine I have here. Someday it might be a real copper mine. I lucked out. The day after I was collecting that ore sample from the Goncola mine, copper mine, I was down here in Washington State checking out Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals Equipment, and he said, why don't we just crush that while we're here? So perfect. We're gonna crush all that ore and run it over his shaker table and get the heavies out. We're probably not gonna smelt it or anything, but we're gonna get an idea of what is in that bucket of ore. Jason is awesome. Here we go. Here's Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals, feeding our one bucket of copper ore. Look at the colors in there. This is all copper pyrite or chalcopyrite coming off of here. We're just taking the highest grade stuff off. We're letting some of the lesser grade stuff go. Pulling just some of the high grade stuff off. But it's great to see how many sulfides are in this. I may have seen a couple chunks of native copper go by, though I haven't seen any gold. Well, now that we did this, we're not quite sure what we're doing with this stuff, because we can definitely see there's huge quantities of chalcopyrite here. Probably an iron pyrite as well in it. Definitely two different pyrites. You can see that in the line. We saw some pieces of what we think may have been native copper work its way down. It also could have been a gold that was really just sort of really, really red. And yeah, we concentrate out a lot. It tells me what I want to know, that there's a lot of copper here. Well, it was definitely fun to do. I'm not sure where we go from here. Not sure what we do with this information, but it was fun to do it all the same. We now have two little bins of very highly concentrated copper ore. Well, I've had a really good look through all of the cons now, and all the crush, the fine crush, some bigger pieces of pyrite, for sure, some of the oversized that made it through the system into the ultra cons. But what I find most interesting is this, metallic copper, also known as native copper, as long as this isn't a contaminant from somewhere else, which because I was crushing solid rocks, I can't see how it would be. One of those pieces looks like a piece of wire, but you know, that could be like wire gold, could be wire copper, native copper. It can form wires. But that is interesting that there was some native copper in there, as well as a whole lot of chalcopyrite. I mean, a lot of chalcopyrite. Very, very intriguing. Hope you enjoyed my video from the Goncola copper mine. If you did, please leave me that thumbs up. If I haven't earned your subscription already, I hope I earned your subscription today. And a big thanks to everyone for watching, especially my patrons. Because of the support of my patrons, I get to make these weekly episodes of Dan Hurd Prospecting for everyone to watch. Hope you're all having an amazing day. And until the next one, bye.